Hey, Jared,
Yes.
what is the best hairstyle for a gun owner?
Best hairstyle for a gun owner.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can get this one.
Can I get this one?
Mm-hmm.
No, I can't.
Bangs.
Oh, okay. I was thinking too deeply about that. I shouldn't have.
I got a second one here.
You got another
Why
one?
can't web developers carry around guns?
Web developers?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Due to troubleshooting.
Okay. I like that one.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Yeah, that was the good one. The other one I thought I'd just give you a freebie, but you
Sure.
still didn't get it.
I know. I was thinking too deeply about it.
Yeah.
Dad jokes are not that deep normally.
No. Hey, welcome back to Screen Time. I'm your host, Josh. Jared, I'm not a bad man, but in certain situations, I have to ask myself, what would a bad man do?
Yeah. I did think about that quote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's my co-host, Jared.
What's up? Got no quote.
No quote.
No.
Well, I'll give you a second one. We drove through all the triangles, including your mom.
I don't even remember that line. That's pretty good though.
And then how about another one? Free gas. Iraq is dope. I think I'm going to get a place there.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Well, today we are discussing the film War Dogs. Came out in 2016, rated R, hour and 54 minutes. Loosely based on true story of two young men, David Packas and Ephraim Devarali, who won a $300 million contract from the Pentagon to arm America's allies in Afghanistan.
Loosely based on it though.
Loosely, yeah.
Okay.
Directed by Todd Phillips, writers Stephen Chen, Todd Phillips, and Jason Smilvuk. Cinematographer Lawrence Sher. Music by Cliff Martinez.
Yeah.
Production costs. What do you think?
Oh, great question. I mean, it definitely really looked like they went to all these places to shoot.
Okay.
But maybe, I don't know. I'm not Mr. Director over here, so you might be like, no, this was all green screen. We'll see.
I don't think it was green screen.
or a set or whatever. Yeah. But, what was the last one?
Last one was 100 and like something.
Oh, right, because it was
the third hangar.
Yeah. I'll just say a base 100 million. 100 mil.
40 million.
Whoa.
Yeah. It was lower than I expected.
That is lower, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So, I mean, there's some talent here, but it's not like a huge cast of people recognizable. So the main people stood out to me, Miles Teller, obviously, Jonah Hill, and then, of course, Ana de Armas.
Man, did they? Ana de Armas, yes.
Ana de Armas.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know if either's correct.
Yeah.
That's how I say
Ana
it.
de Armas.
Maybe yours is right.
I don't know.
I don't know.
And then Bradley Cooper and Kevin Pollak.
Yeah.
Did anybody else stand out to you?
No, that was pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so what were your thoughts on this film?
So we both said, I think last week, this is another one we didn't really know anything about.
Right.
Hadn't seen before. Yeah, wasn't familiar with it at all. It was okay, but I couldn't really get into it that much. The story is interesting, like especially since it's based on, or loosely based on, something that actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting, but I felt like especially the humor, when they tried to put in humor, I thought it felt kind of forced, and I didn't think it was that funny. Maybe that's why I couldn't find a quote. Although that one quote you did actually was pretty good. But that I guess I totally missed over in the movie,
Yeah.
but I liked that one. But yeah, I just it didn't really keep me interested the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
I mean, I enjoyed it all right.
Okay.
I wouldn't rewatch it, but
Yeah.
I was entertained and thought it was curious where it was going to go, where it was going to end, and where they're going to end. Now, granted, from a perspective that is based on true events, that then brings a different level of just like how crazy the story is.
Yes.
And you're like how much? So I did actually look up. I don't know if we're going to talk about it now or later. I did look up to compare
the story,
what the real story is versus the film.
Yeah, we talk about it now. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So,
or at least, before
get a little bit of spoilers then, because I don't want to. So, yeah. So,
I'm assuming this was their names, right? They kept the names.
Yeah, the names are correct. Yep. Yeah, the names are correct. Basically, in general, the events were all true, other than they never actually were in danger because they never traveled abroad to in person deliver any guns and things like that.
Okay.
So like basically the Iraq stuff and the Albania. Yeah, Albania. The Iraq stuff and then the Albania stuff, they didn't go and do that.
Okay.
But they did travel abroad where they're doing it for like some other trade shows, like the one they won't go to in Vegas. Like they did do that. But basically everything they did really was from the computer, like was mostly shown.
Okay. Well, that makes sense then, because that would be a very boring movie if they just didn't,
right.
If that's all it was.
They embellished that. But the web down to the website and the deal, really happened. And that website
crazy.
really existed. And and the reason that the government made it was real. And so like all the fact that they were friends in school and then the one had to go to California and split, like all that true. Like even the fact that he was working with his uncle before then, like helping do all that true. Like it was like basically the general story. There really was a girlfriend. Like, all the So
so all that's interesting. It's just I felt like, well, maybe this is the thing. Maybe they took it like too far or embellished it too much, at least for me. Like it seemed like it kind of got that way towards the end. But yeah, I mean, the story itself, like it's crazy that actually
But
happened.
Again, from what I could tell, like they didn't embellish that much other than like the traveling. That was about it.
Right, but there's a lot that happens when they're traveling.
Yeah.
So that's
that's
what I mean, like that kind of thing. But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't have that many notes.
Okay.
So I don't know how many you have. If you want to,
I've got some. So
okay.
Well, so first, like the beginning of the events where it says 2005.
Yeah.
Like, so because it's based on real events, like I just clocked that and I was like, okay. And putting in perspective, I was like, that was when like Lucas was 1.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was trying to like put it like, okay, what was I doing? Where was I at when this was happening in real life?
Yeah.
And so that was
crazy.
That was kind of crazy. Like I was like, okay, so these guys, 2005 is when they kind of started this thing together and started doing the crumbs.
I'm trying to think. In 2005, I was like just starting band stuff, I want to say. That was probably around that time. So I think that's where I was at. Yeah. Well, I mean, we obviously had no idea this was going on. So when did it come out? Like this story, or like,
I mean,
you know what I mean? Or like, when did people actually know about this happening,
so-
like the general population?
Well, the first story, even as they do in the film, because this is even accurate, Rolling
Okay.
Stone.
Oh,
Rolling Stone's
gotcha.
like, it was like what
That was the
broke
first one?
first story, yeah.
Okay.
And
Rolling Stones, that's interesting.
yeah. and that was, I guess, like December of 2007. So,
Okay.
which they also, that's the other date they put up at like much later when the events go down.
Yeah.
Which, like my contacts again, Addie was born earlier in 2007.
Mhm.
So it was like, there was a little over, it was like 2.5 years or so these guys like did this.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Wow.
that's crazy. Like I'm just putting,
It's crazy also to think, like, in context to the Afghanistan war as well, like with this, because I always think of that as like earlier in history than that. But I
Right.
mean,
the first Gulf War was much
no,
more-
I know, but even in like, but I mean, I guess that was kind of, from what I remember, that was, yeah, most of the decade though,
Mhm.
even in the 2000s. So yeah.
Yeah, the second one because of
Mhm.
9/11.
Right. But I mean, like, yeah, so it's crazy to think about all that was happening. Yeah, pretty much the whole decade. You don't really think about the 2000s, like, besides obviously, like, that's the big thing is 9/11, like, but like, besides that, you don't think about a whole lot in 2000s as like, even as of America or like in the world, like a ton of things happening. But I mean, there was a lot going on actually.
Yeah.
But I feel like people always look back on stuff, you know, in a different way, obviously, right? Nostalgia, or even if it's not nostalgic, but just looking back in general,
Yeah.
colors your perception of it. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So that just kind of was trying to put it in context of
Yeah, that's cool.
where I was, because if it's real events, you're kind of giving you dates. You know, you kind of trying to. Definitely, I wasn't, making millions selling arms to on a
No.
government website.
Me neither. Was in the wrong career path, I guess.
Yeah, and which is the crazy thing. Like, if they hadn't gone, I mean, they weren't doing anything illegal up until like
No.
the last deal with like
Yeah.
with like using Chinese weapons or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know. I didn't say if that was what they did. It must have. I mean, I'm probably the same. I'm sure they wouldn't have changed that. They just probably didn't have to actually go there and do it. They probably were trying to.
Yeah, because
they
they still
definitely
did it
do- yeah.
over the web.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean, as long as it's all up and up, there was nothing illegal about what they were doing initially,
No.
and making a bunch of money. So, yeah, we were doing the wrong thing.
I know. We could have gone into business together at that time and done that.
Yeah,
We were on the internet all the time. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
just didn't find the right website,
Dial-up.
I guess.
No,
Yeah, dial up. Yeah.
nah. By then,
Yeah. I was trying to think.
there was cable internet by then.
Was
for sure.
there? I don't remember
Yeah.
having,
Yeah,
because I remember like that was around the MySpace days, and I remember MySpace still like always being on it and it being so slow.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't mean it was like the internet was like crazy fast.
No, I know, but
like,
I mean, that jump though was like huge, even from obviously dial up to cable
mhm.
in speed. But
Yeah.
good old MySpace days. You know what? You know what I love is using the Wayback Machine,
Yeah,
and I did that recently with MySpace, and it's just cool to see.
yeah,
I saw like my original band's MySpace page. I was like, this is cool. I like that they're archiving all that, and you can kind of go back and look at
man,
internet, previous years of the internet.
yeah. It would be crazy to look up the old website stuff. I remember what I don't know if it was like its own, because we didn't have our own domain, because even that was kind of crazy to do back then.
Mm-hmm.
But with the cave, there was there was a
There was a website,
of some kind. Yeah, I mean, I think it was like one of those like
GeoCities,
or something
Yeah.
where you could like make a free
Angel Fire. I remember making
yes.
ones like on
I
those.
think it was on one of those, but like yeah,
It's just really basic, but still, I
Yeah.
mean, that's all you would need for that, just to
Yeah.
get the information.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Yeah, I have to do that. See if you can find it.
So
You have to at least narrow down the year, though.
I know, and I mean, I guess I would know when it would have possibly been live,
Right.
and still, but yeah. So yeah, those were like my first notes, and then my next note is Anna de. How do you say it? You say it.
Ana de Armas. Yeah.
Ana de Armas. Ana de Armas. I don't know. Well, now we need to look up and see how this.
Yeah,
is.
I know.
But like I had,
We're probably both saying it wrong.
I had no idea she was in this film
Me either.
because didn't know anything about this film. So it was a very, very pleasant surprise.
Yes, it was.
When he comes home to his girlfriend,
I know.
and that's who he's there.
And this is right before Blade Runner 2049 because I think that was 2017.
Okay.
So I don't know what else she was in because she got pretty big from Blade Runner, and then she was in a lot of things after that.
Mm-hmm.
She was in the last Bond movie.
Mm-hmm.
What other movies was she in? She's been in a lot now, more recently. But it was a pleasant surprise. It's kind of two notes together, but yeah, I just wanted to shout her out because she's great. But also their interaction, though, her and Miles Teller, zero chemistry in this movie. It's bad. I was pretty bummed. I'm like, it didn't work for me at all. It didn't really, So I don't know. I think they would have had to pick different actors to, I don't know, for it to just work better because, I don't know. Did you think it was?
I mean, I hadn't. It wasn't something that was, because I say like it wasn't something that was like so like bad that I was like, oh, this is terrible.
Well,
but
it felt
like,
very forced.
It was more
at
like
times.
it was more like, yeah, you're right. Like I didn't really pay attention because it's kind of like a side part of the story. Like
Right.
I mean, it's not,
but they come back to it pretty often.
Right. They do.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, now that you say that, I'm like, yeah, you're right. They it wasn't believable that they were like, but I don't know if that was supposed to be him just being distracted all the time. And
Right.
I don't know. But yeah. Next, just noted the Scarface poster on,
I didn't have a note about that. I actually was going to write that down.
Efren's wall.
Yeah. It was like of all the posters you get, that was like the most cliche one you could put up there. But I mean, it's great. I mean,
right, and cliche. Well, and I'm wondering if like that was even like a real detail, right? Like, because I feel like it's the cliche thing to have from the 90s.
yes.
That like you would still have because you were in high school in the 90s and you had it up still in the 2000s, right?
Hey, I still have mine that Micah gave me.
Yeah. Well, it's because Micah had it on his wall and he was in high school in the 90s.
Exactly. It wasn't that specific one. A different one from Scarface. But still. It is definitely overused, but it might also just be one of Todd Phillips' homages to that movie.
Yeah,
just wanted to throw something in.
Right, or it could have been like one of those just like actual details of that were reality, and you're like, oh, that's funny. We got to do that and put that in the scene, And then my next note's about the guy, what's his name? Kevin Pollak.
Kevin Pollak, yeah.
Kevin Pollak, and as the guy with the dry cleaning business.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was funny because like that scene, like almost looked the same as the scene from like so many times in Miss Maisel.
I thought the same thing.
Because I'm like, he
does the same thing.
It's like it's not a dry cleaning business, but like they had clothes, they do stuff with like textiles and stuff.
Oh yeah, you're right. There was it was
but it's like
fabrics.
basically, but there's like fabrics and they're making, and so it looks very similar.
Yeah, I immediately thought that.
And it's like
with this, just different time period, and but same actor, and kind of.
I guess this was before though, technically.
Right? I don't remember when Miss Maisel started because he was in the first season even.
Yeah, because it's her father-in-law.
Right. Yeah, you see him pretty early.
So this would have been. I mean, this came out in 2016, right? So
2016. Yep.
So they would have filmed it for. I don't know, but yeah. So maybe
probably around the same time, actually.
Yeah, probably.
Because remember, this was the weirdest thing. I kind of like that they did this, but also kind of hated it. Remember when Amazon would be like, "We shot only a pilot," and they put up a
right.
bunch,
Right.
and they'd be like, "You decide which one
Yeah.
gets a full season."
And like, really, you didn't, but like they made you
No.
think you did.
They wanted you to feel involved, but yeah, no.
It's a neat idea.
It is, but I always hated though because there was a few that
They were like, we're good,
yeah,
and didn't come anything.
didn't get, or it would be like, yeah, well, here's a few episodes and that's all we did.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes they would even film a few, but then you're right, even some that they're like, they definitely already filmed the whole season, but they're like, only the pilot. We don't know. It's like, you're not going to not air
Yes.
the rest of them, but
If you,
Miss Maisel, I remember, was one of them because I remember checking it out when it was just a pilot. Yeah, obviously that was one of their best, but yeah, interesting experiment from Amazon.
Another streamer should try that. It would be, I don't know how, because it's like, it's a lot
But
more.
actually
Do
get
it.
people to vote?
Or just like do all these like ideas and let people, even if you did it like in a, like almost like a more short film, or like then you have to do a full, like, and just be like, hey, here's, you got to be under 10 minutes, and then there's all these pitches for these shows, and then
I think it'd be good, especially for like up and coming filmmakers too. Like if they were like, no, and because most people won't know them or care about that aspect, but like,
I feel like
it's not.
There was a
big
reality
directors
show that was like that.
Like about making pilots.
Well, or like you got to make pitch like stuff, and you worked your way through, and they narrowed you down.
I think you're right.
And then that was like what, pre-streaming. It was like way back. Anyway, back to the film War Dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then
I have one more thing. That's it.
Okay. Well, then as then things start to get a little interesting. They go to Jordan because their guns are stuck.
Yeah.
And they have to drive them to the border. They almost die getting shot. And of course, this is the stuff that's all made up. This is the part that's made up. But it's, it gets a little more action, so to speak. But then that's like they basically land their first larger deal where they sell those guns. So then I thought it was like the scene where they were celebrating by burning all the sheets.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that was real. Like he really was a massage therapist, and then trying to sell linens on the side. Like that was all.
I was wondering about that.
Those are all like real things.
Okay.
It's like, it's so weird. You couldn't even make it up, probably.
Yeah. That's very specific that I don't think they would have came up with that. Yeah.
But yeah, so then then they get the bigger deal, and they got to find some. So then they go to Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, hey, Todd Phillips, you know nothing about Las Vegas.
And who's in Las Vegas?
Yeah, Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper again, yeah.
Which that is even based on a real Italian arms dealer. The name's not the same, but
Gotcha. Okay.
they said he's based on that characters.
Okay.
And those guys didn't actually do a deal with him or anything.
Right.
But he did try to screw him out of a deal or something.
Okay.
They said in real life.
That's my last note. Is I just wanted to mention him because I thought his character was interesting.
Yeah.
Bradley Cooper's character. Especially obviously, I think it's the very final scene, right?
Yes.
With him. Yeah. I thought that was
close to it.
Yeah. I think it does end on that. But anyway, we don't have to get there yet. But I just wanted to mention I liked that.
Of course, then they get the big deal. He has guns for them, so they have to go to Albania.
Mm-hmm.
Albania doesn't look like a fun place to be. I don't know how much of a representation is this.
Right, and this is the place that he was hyping up. He's like, "Oh, it's beautiful." And then
he was sarcastic. I think he was being sarcastic.
I don't think so, because this is where they go to right after they meet him.
Yeah.
in his like penthouse room, right? Okay, he really sounded like he was. I don't think he was being sarcastic.
Oh.
And I think he was trying to convince them.
Mm.
And then I thought that was a good cut to them driving. You see oof.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, doesn't sound.
Oh, I thought there was sarcasm, and I thought it was.
I don't know. That could have gone either way.
But anyway, and that's things kind of go downhill, and then what's his name? Ephraim screws David over.
Yep.
Oh, because he just can't. He can't stop. He can't. Because again, also, if they had probably not messed with that, then they probably would have gotten away with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of things like this, it's like when it comes to something like this, you a lot of times get too, whether it be for just too hungry for more money or more, I don't want to say it, opportunity is not the right word because opportunity is a good thing, but more, I don't know. What word am I trying to think of?
I don't know.
But anyway, so
Money,
those
power,
kind of things.
money and power.
There you go. Sure. And then, yeah, you take it too far, or you take it to that level where then it's hard to come back from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, of course, the feds show up and all that stuff, and yeah.
Well, and also, because think about it, I mean, we just were mentioning how it's insane the amount of money they were making already.
Yeah.
Just online.
Yeah.
So like you didn't
just
need to
be like don't risk it so much.
Right.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, it's like, but that's the thing. So, and then of course, speaking to the end scene, then, yeah, like that obviously was added into. That was well, because obviously that would have been illegal if that really happened.
Right.
But,
I thought it was an interesting way to
yeah,
end the movie though.
Yeah. It was kind of a way to give it like a happy ending without them, other than just saying, "Hey, he spent 7 months in jail. He spent 4 years in jail, or whatever." Yeah. So,
Henry. I was trying to think of what was his character's name. It was Henry Bradley Cooper.
Yeah. So then the only thing I was like, I didn't think worked well. I didn't like all the black screens with text interspersed in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't care for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I still think that because, I mean, there wasn't like a ton of humor, I would say, in this movie, but just certain times, I think especially with Jonah Hill, because we know he can be so funny. Like Superbad he's incredible in it. But like what he was doing in this, I'm not saying like all times, because there's a few occasions where is he the one that says your opening line or one of your opening lines?
The second one.
Yeah. Right.
The very first line is from Bradley Cooper's character.
That's right. Okay.
Where I'm not a bad man, but in certain situations.
Yeah. But anyway, like with Jonah Hill in this, it's the way, I don't know, it kind of goes back to what I was saying about it kind of felt forced and like they really needed to throw these extra like humor bits and especially with him, that's like, which is weird because he's a great comedic actor, but I don't know, at times it didn't work for me.
Yeah.
In this one.
I think, I mean, there wasn't anything I felt was off. I just think it wasn't, the humor never was trying to be like funny.
Right.
It was more like he's a douchebag.
Yeah.
That like, but you're friends with him anyway kind of person.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, I mean, those are people.
Yes.
But I don't know. Like I mean, it did not work. I think it worked out right for me from that perspective. I think, you don't like him as a character because you keep thinking like, David, why are you trusting this guy? Why are you, because even like obviously with the whole situation with the contract and then he just like,
and with his uncle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, anyway, but yeah. So I'm going to talk a little bit about cinematography because the cinematography, there was some cool stuff in this.
Yeah, there was.
Definitely like you can see, what's his name? Like Cher. What's it?
Lawrence Cher.
Lawrence Cher. Yeah. You can see him experimenting and being able to kind of And maybe he's done. Again, I haven't looked at what else he did, but the stuff he's worked with Todd Phillips up to this point, like
Yeah, it seems to be his guy now. Like he's had him for a while with a lot
he's
of
definitely
these.
he's definitely worked with him for a while. But
Yeah.
but I mean, like he was more limited in Due Date and Hangover, 3 movies.
Right.
There was times where he had opportunities in the later Hangover movies to do some stuff.
Yeah, and we pointed those out in
Yeah.
this.
But
yeah.
this obviously not going for straight humor and going for more drama in this film, like it allowed him to. He definitely had some really cool moody shots of even when they were like smoking
Yeah.
a joint or something or bong, whatever. I don't remember what it was. Like
Yeah.
hit the
I know you're
bong.
talking about the scene.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I did break down specifically. He did the time lapse from night to morning in a like single shot movie shot when they're in Jordan.
Yeah.
That was very similar to the one they did in Vegas, like we mentioned in Hangover 1. But then also speaking of Vegas, there was a really cool drone shot, establishing shot of Vegas, like that was much better than any of the shots they ever used in the Hangover films, which was also like just.
You mean like right when they first?
When they got there,
Yeah, I thought about that too. Yeah,
and I was just like, oh, that's interesting. Because I mean, you think of him as a cinematographer. He's worked with them on all the Hangover films, which they're like. In Vegas, like they've been in Vegas like so many times, so he's filmed it multiple times, and yet he still found a way.
Familiar with it,
he still found a way to like do something more interesting and cool and pretty looking that he hadn't done in the past. So I thought that was cool.
I think, I think pretty much everything when they're overseas, like I thought looked really great.
Yeah,
that's what really stood out to me with the cinematography and. Yeah, so going into that, like, I mean, it all looked really. So, did they actually go to all these places?
I don't know. That I did not look up myself.
Maybe it'll be in the trivia, but I'm interested, especially, man, on 40 million.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're not. I mean, let's be honest. You don't like. They don't have to go to Iraq to film Iraq. Like they'll go to a desert somewhere in the U.S.
Sure.
And film what this.
Yeah, I guess.
Iraq.
Yeah, I guess a lot of the scenes. Well, I mean, it's like, or like a warehouse or something.
Yeah,
I guess that you could
warehouse
do a set. Yeah, you could do
like a rundown warehouse area,
right.
And
because everything else, you could just, it's just establishing shots. You could get those pretty quick if you were.
But they might have shot some places, or sometimes you shoot somewhere that's not quite as controversial, but looks like so you can kind of go over there and be like, well, I don't know, but I mean, it might be in the trivia. We'll look.
Well, I know you mentioned this. I want to say, well, there's been different movies like that are filmed outside the U.S., but I think it was, I want to say when we did Sicario, you were talking about, or maybe it was even in the trivia, but just how cheap it was and how good of a deal they got filming in Mexico. So there's so I imagine,
yes.
a lot of incentives, right? Yeah, so I imagine that. If they were filming in these locations for this movie, I imagine that's
maybe.
Yeah, they got a really good deal doing that. So,
yeah.
Well, also I did look up Lawrence Sher.
Yeah.
However you say his name. He is a cinematographer on Joker and the new Joker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is great. So it's cool. He's continuing with him, and I'm trying not to hype up the movie Joker for you too much because it's crazy you haven't seen it. But I mean, but it's very you'll be treated well with visuals, score, and dialogue, everything. Like it's
we'll have a guess on that one.
Yeah, we will. Yeah.
Yes.
We'll mention that actually in a little bit when we finish the pod. I shouldn't have brought that up already, but anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, you can see the progression in the cinematography, I think. And that's always cool to see as well.
Mm-hmm.
About the music score.
I didn't really have anything for this, but I did want to talk about the composer himself because Cliff Martinez, he did a lot of Steven Soderbergh's movies.
Okay.
Which I think the score and there's a few in particular I can think of that I really liked. But more importantly, he did all the music for the show The Nick,
Oh, okay.
which incredible show that also Soderbergh did.
Yep.
That I wish he would have continued with that show. But the score in that is so good. And I remember when it came out, I hated the score at first because it was so jarring.
Mm.
But then it really worked when I kind of settled into it, because the show takes place in like 1900.
Mm-hmm.
But the score is like very synth heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And it confused me at first, but I mean, it was obviously a conscious decision, and I remember seeing a behind the scenes about it. But anyway, so I really like this guy. But this movie though, I didn't really, didn't really anything stand out.
Yeah, nothing really stood out to me, but I just,
it's nothing for you either. Okay.
So what about themes and messages?
I keep forgetting to write something down for this because a few weeks ago we didn't do it, and then I think it was also because we were doing comedies. It's like how much is really
we kind of say it, but we would that really,
something more serious like this, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would say kind of what I already touched on, where it's like trying to not go or get too money and power hungry.
Mm-hmm.
To where then you've gone too far, and then there's major repercussions and ramifications for just because you want more and more and more always.
Yeah, for sure. I just put like small compromises lead to bigger and bigger compromises that eventually you go way over the line that you. I mean, it's kind of like the Breaking Bad thing, right? Like, it's like, you end up doing things you would never have said you would do 2 years prior, but because you've taken small steps, which is why it's so important to not even compromise even in the small areas, right?
Well, and like even in that case, it's like straying so far from your original intention.
Yeah.
Like, for him, it was like, oh, I just need enough money for my family. And then.
Right. And that was the other note I put. Money feels important until you lose something else that's far more important, and you realize money was never worth it.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah. Deep stuff.
Yeah. Josh is spitting facts this episode. It's got bars.
All right. Trivia. Let's see if we got any info.
Yeah, I'm mainly just interested
where they were filming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I know that's not always shown in trivia, but.
Right, but sometimes. All right. The real David appears in the movie singing "Don't Fear the Reaper" in the retirement home.
Oh, the guy playing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
He's singing. Yeah. Well, that was the first one. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that is.
I did read. So the real David was, like signed off on the film and was working with him on this film, but the real Ephraim didn't want to be involved and then later sued them, but didn't win because.
What did he sue them for?
I guess like defamation or whatever of like his. I don't know, persona or whatever. I don't know. The real Ephraim declined to meet with Jonah Hill. And Hill said, "I'm used to it. If a person is aggressively against me playing them, it's probably a good sign." So the company, when they said that the initials didn't mean for AEY didn't mean anything or didn't stand for anything, in real life, the company had been a shell company started for Ephraim's father. Letters in the name are the initials of his children: Aaron, Abigail, Avraham, and Ephraim, and Yisha. So at the time that Anna got the role, she barely spoke English. She simply learned all her lines phonetically. The makers got wind of this when a line in the script was changed. She didn't know how to properly pronounce it or have even a basic conversation. Her management immediately put her through English lessons. So like you said, like this probably was before
Okay,
evidently she couldn't even speak English.
I mean, that makes sense. Like her accent's very strong in this. So,
There you go.
was this her first American
It
film?
might be. It made it sound like it. The action that took place in Albania was filmed in Romania.
Mm.
Even the language of the workers in their warehouse were Romanian.
Oh,
Here it is. Yeah. In 2016, the real Ephraim, fell out of a lawsuit against Warner Brothers.
so basically once the movie came out.
Trying to block the release of the film.
Oh,
It claimed on the basis the film was taken from his self-published memoir, Once a Gun Runner. So I guess he wrote a book.
mm.
The movie exaggerated the extent to which the two young men were physically in peril abroad. Though they both dealt in danger, they mostly did it behind computer screens.
Mm.
Guy Lawson, the journalist who originally dug up the story for an article in Rolling Stone, said that filmmakers captured much of the spirit of the actual events, but missed the mark on certain aspects. He told the LA Times they got a lot of it in, but you watch the end and you think it's about these guys. It's not. It's about the system. Okay. Yeah. So the beach sunset scene that Ephraim has adorning the wall of his office at AEY is another reference to Scarface. Frank Lopez had the same scene painted on his wall of his office.
Okay, yeah.
And then the poster design is a parody from Scarface.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed that. The poster for the film.
The Las Vegas Gun Convention that David and Ephraim attend is based on two real-life firearm conventions. SHOT Show is a gun convention held in Las Vegas every year, and the tanks, missiles, and equipment seen in the movie are at IDX in Dubai. Okay, that's weird. Todd Phillips, Jonah Hill, and the real life Ephraim, all born on different years, but all have the same birthday, December 20th.
Interesting.
Yeah,
They all three felt the connection together.
Jesse Eisenberg and Shia LaBeouf were also in talks to star.
Oh. That would be...
Which one would have been which?
I mean, I really like Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf, eh.
Yeah, but which one would have been which, do you think? I guess Shia LaBeouf would have played the Ephraim character.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine so.
The last name of Ana de Armas is Spanish for weapons.
Yeah, it is. I didn't even think about that. Huh.
So then are we saying it right or not? If it's the word weapons.
I don't know if I covered that in my Duolingo yet. I'll get back to you on that. That's the part I'm the worst with is pronunciation.
Yeah. The apartment David moves in after earning a lot of money is similar to the one that Frank Lopez from Scarface had. Yeah. There's
a lot of homages
Scarface
then,
references. Yeah. All right.
They should have got Al Pacino or Michelle Pfeiffer to cameo in this or something. That would have been sick.
Yeah. That would have been crazy. Cool. Well, any final thoughts? Sounds like you didn't like it as much as I did.
No, but I mean, after talking through all this, I like it more than when we started talking about it. Like bringing your points about it, how much is real and where they chose to embellish it. Yeah, that helped with it. But I still I want to say the humor part is what
didn't work for you as much. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, my like I said, I enjoyed it. It was, I'm glad I watched it. Put it that way. Like I said, I wouldn't rewatch it.
Yeah.
Per se. I mean, maybe 10, 20 years from now, and I would just randomly try to.
Yeah, it's just, but it's not just a rewatchable movie. Yeah.
But it was interesting, and of course, never mind watching Anna in a movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to make a note about her anytime she's in anything.
So yeah, our next film, Joker.
Yep.
The Joker.
And then we have a next director picked after that, and then we'll come back to Joker.
Correct.
When it comes out in theaters.
So next, you tell them who we're going to.
You want to go ahead and? Oh, sure. Yeah. We're doing Francis Ford Coppola, which is very exciting.
Yeah. A little change of pace.
Yes. And there's some that, or at least one, I was very shocked that Josh has not seen.
Mm-hmm.
So
stay tuned to find out what that is.
Exactly, yeah. Is it The Godfather? Who knows?
How about Godfather? No, I've only seen the second and third one. I haven't seen the first one.
No way. No way. That would be wild. And speaking of Coppola, also Megalopolis is also this year. So
yeah, coming out later this year.
Which is crazy. I don't think he's really done a film in like 10 years or something crazy. And I think he's done after this.
No, he self-funded this practically.
That's right, he did, yeah.
But yeah, cool.
Yeah. Sorry, I was saying just trying to figure out the early days of Coppola is kind of weird movie-wise. Trying to figure out the best place to start. So anyway, but stay tuned for that.
Yeah, and I was going to have you seen the War Dog film? What have you thought? Did you think it sucked like Jared did? Or did you like it okay like I did?
There's always your answer, sucks or okay.
Let us know. Leave a comment or send us an email at feedback@screentimepod.com or send us a message on Instagram. You can follow me at jyoungbar.
And I'm at Jared Youngbar.
All right. We'll catch you guys next time.